Okay, let's talk about what some of these answers are and why those are the answers. So for number 1 here, and I'll do my mouse, it'll make this little circle so it's easier for you to see. It says Jill must find an alternate time for her appointment since she already has something on her schedule. For this one, your context clue is since she already has something on her schedule. So we know, okay, she must find an alternate time for her appointment. She's already got something on her schedule, so that means she's going to have to find something C, different. That would be an example or a synonym. One big thing I want you to understand is sometimes context clues aren't necessarily just one, they can be multiple, but I just want you to kind of get the feel for how we use them to figure things out. So the answer for this one would be C, different. We come here to number 2. It says, did you contribute to the food drive, or do you still need to bring some? So we know there's a food drive, and it says or, and or right here is going to be your big clue. So did you contribute, or do you still need to bring some? The fact that you need to bring something is a synonym. It's an example of what she needs to do. So by bringing something to the food drive, the answer would be C, give. She's going to have to give something to the food drive. For number 3, it says, although the weather reporter said it would be partly cloudy, I predict that it will rain heavily. Note, I did not create this, and this should be it, not if. Sorry about that. So, although the weather reporter said it would be partly cloudy, I predict that it will rain heavily. So, this although, that's just like a fancy way of saying but. So, even though the weather reporter said it's going to be cloudy, I predict it's going to rain heavily. So that's kind of an opposite, that's an antonym. And so I predict, I foresee, and foresee is like I'm seeing into the future. That's what a prediction is. So this person is saying, I don't trust what this weather reporter is saying. I'm predicting, I'm foreseeing that it's going to be something different because this although is your context clue. And number 4, my screen will scroll, which it won't. It says, how can you condone littering in the park? People must pick up their trash. And I'm sorry the answers aren't showing, but my screen won't let me. So your options are, how can you condone? How can you allow littering in the park? Because she's saying people must pick up their trash, and she's saying it very angrily, like, how dare you? How could you? So this way, she's saying, like, how could you even allow this? And if we look at some of our ways of looking at this, if we substituted, how can you play littering in the park? That doesn't make any sense. And how can you smell littering in the park? Again, that doesn't make any sense. So you know right there, you can get rid of 2 answer choices, and you're left with allow or dislike. You could put dislike in there, and you could say, how can you dislike littering in the park? People must pick up their trash. But it doesn't really make sense with that last sentence. This person's like yelling at somebody, like, how can you even begin to allow this? So even though you can't see the answer is A, allow. Let's come back up to number 5. It said, Mrs. Hall loves the old spelling program, so she will integrate the old program with the new. So our context clue is that she loves the old program, so. By seeing so right here, we know she's going to do something. So because she loves it, she's going to do something with it and the new program. So she's not going to separate it, because if you separate something, like if she loved it, why would she separate it? That doesn't make sense. She's not going to trash it either, because if she loves it, she's not going to get rid of it. So we know we can cross out these 2 answers right here. So we're left with fix or combine. So if we put fix in there, it says Miss Hall loves the old spelling program, so she will fix the old program with the new. If she loved the old one, she's not going to fix it. So we're really only answer that makes sense is combine, and that means to put the 2 things together. That way she can have the old program and the new one. So the answer for that is D, combine. This next one says, the principal asked me to document or record all instances of bullying in my class. This right here is called an appositive phrase, and it's also the big example they gave you of example in your notes when you have something set off by commas, because it is a kind of a definition or an example of what it means to document. So she had to record all the instances of bullying. And if you're going to record something, the only thing in this list that makes sense is right. Because you're not going to skip bullying. Yeah, you can understand it, but that's not going to help any, and you're certainly not going to ignore it. So right is your only thing that makes sense. For number 7, it says, I don't know the exact time of the concert, but it's approximately 3 o'clock. So if we look at this question, it says, I don't know the exact time. So C right here says precisely, which means the same thing as B, which is exactly. And since he said, I don't know the exact time, here's exact and here's exact, we know neither one of these can be the answer. So that's 2 answers gone, and you're left with roughly or never. So if you substitute those in, it says, I don't know the exact time of the concert, but it's never 3 o'clock, or it's roughly 3 o'clock. The only one that makes sense is roughly, because never 3 o'clock, it just is nonsense. So your only answer that makes sense is A, roughly. And for number 8, again, you can't see the answers, I'm so sorry, but it says, Bob loves to finish projects by himself, but I like to coordinate with others. Whenever you see the but, you know there's an antonym. She's like, I want to do the opposite of this. So Bob loves to finish projects, but I like to do the opposite. So the opposite of by yourself is with other people. And so the answer that makes sense for that is A, to share responsibility. Fighting with others doesn't really make sense. Wonder and ride don't make sense. So a lot of this, even if you're not sure what exactly the context clue is, you can at least get rid of probably 2 answer choices at any given time, and that gives you a 50-50 chance. Substitute them in, see what makes sense, use them in addition with your context clues, and you'll be able to figure out the meanings of words so much easier. If you are stuck, if you're still not sure about something, feel free to go back, rewatch the video, and if you're still stuck, you can ask for assistance as well.